We really were your average, clean-cut American family.
Lisa, we were a little bit larger than average.
Mom, Dad, come on now. 9 kids is not average.
All right. I guess what I mean to say is that we were healthy and we were whole and we were busy protecting our kids.
I think you're trying to say that we were striving to be a good model Christian family. Close-knit, fun-loving, even trying to help other families raise their kids.
That's it. That's why that day in October came as such a shock.
It all started one evening when I was sitting at my desk at the office, going through a big stack of bills, getting ready the next morning to take a group of people from my church and my whole family to a conference in another state. When I opened my cell phone bill, I expected to see the normal $45 for the one cell phone that we had. $800. That's crazy. I picked up the phone and called my wife.
I remembered his question shaking me out of my packing distraction. Do you know anything about this bill, Lisa? To which I said, of course not. It's your cell phone. So I went back to the kids, the newborn, the toddler, the packing, and just assumed that it was a billing error.
It wasn't a mistake. I began to check the numbers. Too many of them were familiar, particularly one cell phone that I knew belonged to a middle-aged man in our church. The other numbers were from cities across the Midwest. Some of the phone calls were an hour, 2, even 3 hours long. Many of them were in the middle of the night. I felt a rock in my gut. I knew something was wrong. I began to call the kids and ask them if they had any idea what had happened. I headed home.
He pulled me into our bedroom, right on the other side of this wall. It was not a billing mistake. He had drawn his conclusions. It was Kaylin, our 15-year-old, high-achieving daughter. She'd never lied to us before. My mind could not conceive of such a thing. And so then she came into the room. She sat in the green chair at the end of our bed.
When Dad first called me, everything inside of me went numb. I'd been sneaking out for weeks to place these calls. It'd become normal to me to go to Dad's car and get his cell phone off the charger and walk down to our detached garage to make the calls. I was horrified. My secret was coming out and my whole world was falling apart.
Her facial features suddenly changed. She became hard and defiant. She began to say things that were difficult for our ears to comprehend.
Yes, I called him. Dad, he didn't do anything wrong. Don't hurt him. You can't take him away from me. He's going to come and marry me. You just don't understand.
I fell on the floor, weeping, shouting, falling apart. I had imagined this nightmare. My parents being so mad. I had to protect them.
Words started flying out of our mouths like swords. Horrible words. Things like, Kaylin, you've destroyed our family. What are you doing to your dad and me? Can't you see this will hurt our church?
I threatened right then. Kaylin, I'm going to pack you up and take you in for a drug test right now.
It was horrible. Model families are never supposed to have these kinds of scenes.
I called the man right there. Of course, he denied everything. Oh, I was only counseling, helping her with her school. Yeah, right.
Our family, as we knew it, was redefined from that moment.
I just didn't know what to do. I was angry, hurt, and confused. They had taken my soulmate from me, so I thought my parents were the enemy. Depression, suicide, abuse, cutting, rebellion, eating disorder. I couldn't let anyone into my world of torment. I would have to cope the best I could.
It became starkly clear that we had lost her. Something had come in and stolen her. She was impossible to live with. She turned away from God and from us. She began to wreak havoc on our entire family. It was like scenes from a terrible, horrifying movie.
In a crazy way, we couldn't quite figure out what was wrong. We took her to counselors, and it was a very confusing scene. 15, sexual abuse.
I just wanted my daughter back.
But that couldn't happen. until we unmasked the predators that had come against our home.